Good Tuesday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson, and we have a lot of weather to go on and break down for your Tuesday. As you can see by the title, South Carolina's heat wave finally starts to break. And so we are going to mainly talk about the end of the week and how we could start to see some cooler air move in, as well as some rainy conditions, some flooding maybe later on as well. And that's the main thing. Now, there are a couple of other things like how we're still going to have above normal highs in the mid to upper 90s as we move later on into the midweek, maybe going into Friday or so. We're still going to see afternoon slash evening thunderstorm coverage through Thursday. And then as we move into the weekend, we're going to start seeing that increased coverage for storm activity. And then more seasonable temperatures and lower humidity possible by late weekend. So that's what we're going to look at here. If you've not hit the like button yet or the subscribe button yet, please go on and do so. We've already had a couple of people tune in, but not everybody has hit the like button yet. So please go on and do so. So let's see what is currently going on in terms of our radar right now. Well, as we can see right now, nothing's going on. We're nice and dry right now as of 8:02 p.m. And as we scroll our way out to see what's going on throughout the entire U.S., we do have some rainfall in Florida, some severe weather in Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Kansas, even inside of Wisconsin. We have some severe weather with a tornado warning even present in areas of Wisconsin. We have some more rainfall from Montana down into the Four Corners area. And then over in the west, things are looking pretty dry from Washington, Oregon, and California. Now, what's going on in terms of our cloud cover? We do not have much. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. Cloud cover is not really impacting us much right now from the upstate to the coastal areas. Now, what about that cloud cover for the future? We go on and push this forward into around later on tonight, going into tomorrow morning. We're still not seeing much in terms of cloud cover, even as we move to around 8, 9, 10 a.m. or so, going into tomorrow. And then as we move over into tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, cloud cover starts to develop a little bit. Could do with some showers, some storm activity later on into the afternoon. But that pops off a bit in the low country, the Midlands, the Grand Strand, and then the upstate gets in on some cloud cover as well. And then as we move over into Wednesday night, going over into Thursday morning comes in, cloud cover again, starting to take over a good amount of the state, but leaving some clear areas here and there. Now, what about for our current temperatures right now? Temperatures are definitely up right now, and I will say that yesterday I said that there was a bit of a heat bias, and turns out that there was a little bit, but these temperatures were still pretty close. 95 in Beaufort, 92 in Somerville, 90 Charleston, as well as 93 in Hilton Head Island, 90 in Orangeburg, as well as 86 in Myrtle Beach, 89 Conway, and 90 as well in Columbia, 87 in Newburgh, and 85 in Greenville, 86 Spartanburg, as well as 84 in York, Rock Hill, 86 in Clemson, as well as Anderson. And so you may be asking and you may be looking and saying, well, 95, 90, 92, 93, in a lot of these areas in the low country areas. And honestly, like I say, this probably is correct, or at least somewhere near correct. I'm looking at my current temperatures at my house right now. It's 90, and a little bit higher than, because I'm not right there near Charleston. I'm kind of off a little bit further towards the northwest there in Somerville, but 99 to 92, it's not that far off. And heat index values wise, I'm looking at my temperatures right now at my house as well, is around 107 from my personal weather station here. So not too far off. And I do think that obviously heat index has to do with the fact of why these temperatures are getting up a bit higher. Now, air quality for right now, we do have a little moderate area going on near the coastal low country areas, going a bit more inland as well. If you are in the yellow moderate areas, just make sure that you're paying attention for it for tonight if you're outside for a long period of time. But overall, we're looking good. Now, in terms of low temperatures for tonight, we're talking about 73 in Greenville, 72 Spartanburg, as well as 77 in Columbia, 76 in Orangeburg, as well as 80 in Charleston, 77 Georgetown, and 79 in Myrtle Beach, 79 Hilton Head Island, and 76 in Florence, 77 Sumter, and 74 inside of Aiken. Now, for your high temperatures for tomorrow, we're talking about 94 in Greenville, 93 Spartanburg, as well as 98 in Columbia, 98 in Orangeburg and Barnwell, as well as Walterboro, 96 Charleston, and 97 in Moncks Corner, 94 Georgetown, as well as 91 in Myrtle Beach, 95 in Hilton Head Island. Now, what about for your heat index for tomorrow? Tomorrow is going to be not as hot as today, but definitely still hot regardless. 110 in Charleston, 108 in Myrtle Beach, 106 in Hilton Head Island, as well as Kingstree and Georgetown. But then areas in the upstate like Greenville, Spartanburg only getting to 99, 104 in Columbia, Orangeburg, 105 in Sumter. Now, what about rainfall? We could see a good amount of rainfall. You see maybe a hundredth of an inch to a tenth of an inch in areas like Moncks Corner, Sumter, Florence, Georgetown, Myrtle Beach. Those areas could see a hundredth of an inch to a tenth of an inch over the next 24 hours. Some other areas may see maybe a tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch, and then some other areas may even see around a quarter of an inch to a half an inch. So we definitely could see some of this rainfall fall throughout pretty much all the areas that are kind of highlighted right now, but also maybe in other areas as well that are not highlighted, just because we know it's summertime, and with summertime thunderstorms, anything's possible. They can go any direction, they can go and really do whatever they want. They can also produce flash flooding, so these totals are not 100%, going to be accurate either, just because flash flooding can occur, thunderstorms with torrential downpours could occur, and mess up everything here. Now, in terms of the crazy score, right now we're at a 12. I think that if I refresh it, no, we're at a 12 right now. I guess when 8 o'clock p.m. hit, because that is when the majority of the excessive heat watches and the heat advisories kind of go away, that really did bring down the risk. Now, you may be asking, well, why in the world are we still at a 12? I mean, you just said there's barely any cloud cover. You just also said that there was, no rainfall falling throughout the state. Why in the world are we at a 12 right now? Well, the main reason why we're at a 12 is because things are calm right now. In terms of everything else, except for the heat. The heat is still kicking. I mean, we have some areas right now that are 90 degrees plus right now at 8:08 p.m. Eastern time. So that's the main reason why the conditions are so like high in that calm category and almost inside of the mild category, just because it's so hot outside still, and there's no relief at all. That relief will come, obviously in the morning time when things really do calm down. But for right now, we're just staying more in that calm category, the higher calm category here. Now, thunderstorms are not expected for tonight, but as we move over into tomorrow, thunderstorms are possible from areas of the southern Midlands to the Low Country to the Grand Strand, even into the Petey areas. And then as you move over into Thursday, again, another risk of thunderstorm activity from upstate to coastal areas. Doesn't matter where you are, you have a risk of thunderstorm activity as you move over into Thursday. Now, for fire weather, we're good there. We're not seeing anything. And then excessive rainfall wise, we are good for today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. Friday comes in and we have a huge upgrade for when it comes to flash flooding on Friday. We now have a slight risk of excessive rainfall for Greenville going into Spartanburg, Rock Hill, Lancaster going down into Sumter and Manning. Those areas have a 15% risk of flash flooding on Friday. And then as we move over into the green areas, this is the 5% that goes from Walhalla down into Greenwood, Orangeburg, Allendale, going into Moncks Corner and Myrtle Beach. Those areas have a 5% risk of flash flooding on Friday. And then Saturday comes in and we see a bit of a shift. We now get into the Tri-County area of Dorchester, Berkeley, Charleston County, and then over inside of the PD and the Grand Strand areas, there is another 5% risk of flash flooding here. So, what does all of that mean? All the information that I've just told you. Let's go on and take a look at the models now and see what the models have to say and why all of the stuff with excessive rainfall, why all of the stuff with the heat is going on, what's going to happen with the heat next. Well, starting off here, we're going to start off here at 8 o'clock p.m. And just as we push this forward later on into tonight, for some reason, the HRRR has showers and maybe even some downpours trying to get going in the eastern parts of the Low Country, maybe even the western PD and the Grand Strand areas as well. So there is something here, according to the HRRR midnight tonight. Now, as you move over into around 3, 4, 5, maybe even to around 7 o'clock in the morning and onward, rainfall activity just continues to move its way over, not, any more of a big deal to us, and kind of goes away by the time we get to around 2, 3 a.m. or so. Now, as we go on and move further, so like, for example, the 18Z, We're going to move over into around 1 p.m., 2 p.m. tomorrow. Showers and storms start to get going just a little bit, but overall not much. We move to around 5 to 6 p.m., maybe even to 7, 8 o'clock or so. And we see some more shower activity, maybe even some more thunderstorm activity throughout the low country, throughout the Grand Strand, throughout the PD areas as well, moving into the evening time tomorrow. Now, as we move on into, like, for example, midnight on Wednesday going into Thursday, rainfall activity again, not present, but watch as we go into the afternoon, maybe even the late morning on Thursday. Shower activity, storm activity is possible as we move through into Thursday and maybe even Thursday afternoon slash evening. So we have a lot to kind of watch for here for when it comes to rainfall. But even as we go over into Wednesday and maybe a little bit into Thursday, our summer pattern still remains. Still remains for sure. It kind of just gets active during the afternoon, calms down in the nighttime hours, going into the morning hours, and then kind of, things start to go back to being normal and getting back to shower and storm activity phase as you go into like the late morning, early afternoon. Now, what's going on in terms of how much rainfall we could potentially receive over the next 48 hours or so? Not much. Definitely not much at all. Some areas could see, though, like an isolated inch or two of rainfall. It's possible. But for the most part, it looks like that the majority of us are going to stay dry as we move throughout the next 48 hours. That is, again, through around Thursday afternoon slash evening. Now, what about for the long-term future? Well, the short-term future, that's good to look at, but the long-term future, that's where a lot of this forecast for tonight really is going to take place. And that's really just because the heat is finally going to take a bit of a break. The heat is finally going to take a bit of a break. And you'll see it start as early as maybe going into Friday. But this is Thursday right here still. We go into Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, Thursday night. And we have a low pressure that's kind of sitting here, kind of just sitting, bringing in moisture, bringing in a good amount of rainfall through us here. But then Friday comes in, and look how much rainfall we get coming in on Friday. This is Friday at 8 o'clock p.m. This is, not the best if you have any Friday night, Friday evening plans. It just does not look good at all if you have anything to do Friday evening going on. So, if as we move later on to around Saturday going into Sunday or so, it still looks pretty active. And so one thing I will say about next week as we move into this weekend and onward is the rainfall activity just continues to just to like train over us over and over and over, bringing storm system after storm system after storm system, even as we move into midweek going into potentially later on next week. I mean, you could definitely see a good amount of rainfall activity throughout the next 300 plus hours here, according to the GFS. Now, the main question is how confident are the models to where we will see that many low pressures kind of go over us here in the state? That's a great question. Um, but even if we go in and take a look over into the precipitation totals over around like the next 384 hours or so, let's go in and move over here. You see that some areas can get up to 3, 4 inches of rainfall. Some areas have up to around 5 inches of rainfall. Some areas 6 inches of rainfall over the next 384 hours. Again, just remember, this is one model run. This is one model run. So this is not just, like an kind of like an average of models kind of put together. This is one. So this could very much not happen. This could very much not happen at all. The main thing that we're going to have to look at here is the ensembles. And so if we go in and take a look at the GEFS over the next 384 hours, what does it say? Well, it says around 2 to 3, maybe even 3.5 inches of rainfall over the next 384 hours here. So not as much as the original GFS model says, but on an average from the GFS models put together, it says around 2 to maybe even 4 inches of rainfall in some spots. Then the European model, because the European model has been on the lesser trend. It just has been on the lesser trend over the past couple of days, and it still is. I mean, saying maybe an inch of rainfall at the max on an average scale over here in the west during part of the state. You move over into the Grand Strand, the low country areas, maybe around 2 to 3 inches, but you're not seeing anything more than that. You're really not. So the European is still kind of being more on that downward trend there. And you may be asking, well, why in the world is that? you don't really see too much of that rainfall come in until later on, and kind of almost more of like a gradual type thing here. But a good amount of rainfall kind of falls as we move throughout the end of August, showing that August could be, at least this latter portion here, could be more of the active type. But we could also just go on and just take a look at the European itself and just see what it looks like. And obviously, as you can see here, going to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday comes in, you don't see as much rainfall from the GFS, here on the European as you move later on into the weekend. Even as you move into next week, you're not seeing a whole lot of rainfall at all next week, according to the European. Thursday and Friday comes in of next week here going into next weekend. And just you're not seeing as much intensity and as much rainfall here until probably later on into what is this, like September here. You're not seeing as much intensity and as much rainfall here from the European until later on, and it has some big time storm system trying to get in here, from like down to the Gulf. So I don't know what in the world's happening there, but that's over 300 hours, so we're not going to really focus on that much. But the GFS just has a lot more intensity for when it comes with this rainfall here. But I will say, if we go in and take a look at the JMA real quick, which is the geopotential height models, we kind of touched on this a little bit yesterday as well. It's going to be quick. Not going to spend too much time on this because we did a full breakdown on this yesterday. If you want to see that, go to last night's forecast where we broke this down, the pattern, and you can see the time in the top right corner of your screen, the ridge that we had over us moving over towards the west, and that ridge is going to break down. The reason why we're going to start seeing storm system after storm system after storm system kind of ride down this ridge right here is because of this digging trough that we're having. There's going to be multiple digging troughs that's going to go down and try to produce shower and storm activity over here inside of the south down here and throughout the mid-Atlantic and throughout areas maybe even into the northeast. And so that's what we're going to see over. And there goes another one trying to build its way down right over here. But this one's more on the negative side. But continuing to move its way down towards the south, even into the last couple of days of August. You move even into, what is this, August the 29th here. Another one coming out. Then as you move into September, another low pressure system trying to come in. So multiple low pressure systems coming in one after the other after the other. And then the European, comparing it to the GEFS here, the European also has a couple, but honestly, I mean, it shows a good amount. It's just, it doesn't really want to produce, I think, as much rainfall, and it doesn't want it to be as strong. Some of these low pressure to really be as strong as what the GFS kind of shows. So that's their main difference with one another here. But regardless of what they may say in terms of precipitation, because precipitation, it's important to go in and talk about. The one thing that we cannot deny and that those two models cannot deny is that there's a cool down coming. Now, we know what tomorrow is going to look like. Tomorrow is going to be hot. Thursday, we know Thursday it's going to be hot. But watch as we move later on into Friday. Friday comes in, okay, we're around 2 p.m. We're around 10 to 15 degrees above average. But then watch as we get into around Saturday. Okay, Saturday around 2 p.m. Again, maybe 10 degrees, if not a little bit less. A couple of locations trying to get into the single digits of temperature, being above average here. Some of them near normal, and some of them trying to get below average a little bit going into Saturday. Okay, that's a good sign. We go into Sunday during the day, 5 degrees above average, 2 degrees above average. Some areas near normal. Okay, I mean that's a very good thing to kind of see here as we move through. Monday comes in, and Monday again seeing less than 5 degrees above average in some spots, and so this is great right here. I mean, this is absolutely fantastic. We want to see these temperatures right here kind of continue their way into the more like 0 to 5 degree above average range, just because once you get to around 10 to 20 degrees above average, you're going to be talking about temperatures near the hundreds. Now that we're seeing less than that, we're still going to maybe see some 90s, but not going to be up into the hundreds in terms of actual temperatures. Even as you go over into Tuesday and as you move over into Wednesday or so onward, look at how much cool air we're going to see moving on into next week. And then as we move into the week after next week, still things don't look that hot. And it's that bombardment of trough after trough after trough that we were just talking about in the pattern that's going to keep on pushing this cooler air down time after time after time. And so, what do those temperatures actually look like on an actual scale? Well, if we move over into Thursday, we know Thursday, like I said, going to be hot up into the hundreds potentially. Friday comes in, same thing, hundreds. But then Saturday comes in, some high 90s, but some low 90s as well. We go into Sunday, some lower 90s, maybe some high 80s as some highs as we move into Sunday. We move over into Monday, still in the 90s. Tuesday and onward, we are still, staying in those 90s, not getting into the hundreds, not getting into the hundreds. And I know a lot of people may be glad to see that. Now, even if we go in and take a look at the overall temperatures here, so this is a mean temperature of around 200 plus hours or so. We're going to start off here on Wednesday, 198 hours out on 2 p.m. On August the 26th. Just as you push this forward, you can see those temperatures and how they drop down as you progressively get through into the month of September. It's like the more that we move into September, the more those temperatures are going to try and drop. The European, what does the European say? The European kind of is on the same page, trying to drop those temperatures as we move more and more into September. So, like, even though both of them really aren't in agreement in terms of how much rainfall we may see over a 300-hour time span, they really are in agreement that we are really going to see a cool down as we move into that month. So I think once September hits, I mean, I'm not going to say that we're going to be done with the hundreds, but I mean, because, obviously with weather, anything's possible. We're not, I'm not going to completely say that we're done. We'll know when we're done. Like, when we're not seeing, like, any hundreds, we're not seeing, barely even in the 90s. Like, we're going to know when we're going to be done with that 100-degree increment. But for right now, heat indices still may reach it even as we get into early September. Will we reach the actual temperature, though? We're going to have to wait on and to wait and find out. And I think that's pretty much about it. I mean, heat index values, we know what those are going to look like as we move throughout the next couple of days. We're going to just stay more into that 110, maybe even higher than that as we move throughout Thursday, Friday. But then as we hit around Saturday and Sunday, it's not going to see too much of those heat indices kind of reaching up into the 105 to 110 degree range. We're going to be kind of lower than that. And, I mean, I might as well just go in and show it. It takes like 2 seconds anyway. Kind of just moving over into Thursday. We know we're still going to be up into the hundreds. Same thing Friday. Saturday, like I said, 102, 103, but not quite 105. Saturday comes in as well. And again, we're still seeing maybe some 90s, but still nowhere near or really in those deep 100s. But that's pretty much all I have to say there in terms of the models. Nothing's going on in terms of tropical cyclone activity. We are good to go here. And it is Tuesday, so we don't have a drought update yet. That drought update will be on Thursday. And we had no earthquakes today in the state of South Carolina. So let's go on now and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. If you join us here at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, and you're a subscriber, you can type, and you will be able to go in and ask whatever you want, and anything inside the chat, hopefully weather-related, though. And we're going to start off here with my Aunt Lua first, who says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Today's high in Georgetown was 98. Currently, it's 85. Today was very hot, so I decided to not go out. No rain showers today. We needed a cool down. That's great that we'll get a break from the heat wave. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for the weather report for where you are. Over at my house currently, kind of talked about it earlier, but we're at 88 right now. Feels like 102. And the high temperature for today at my house was 98. 98 degrees. Trail says, greetings, everyone. Greetings to you. And then Thad says, good evening, just from the 360 weather family. I trust all as well. It was another extraordinarily hot day today here in Central Texas. I didn't spend a lot of time outside at all. There has to be some relief coming our way soon. We need it to rain. We need it to rain for at least 2 weeks. LOL. I may have to convince my family to move to SC. Well, number one, yes, you definitely do need some rain over there. Even though you're technically not inside of a drought, I don't have a good feeling in that. I don't know. I just do not have a good feeling about that drought update next week, or even this week, just because you don't have any rain in sight, and so it, that ridge that's over there in the central part of the U.S. just continues to just dominate over your area, even as you get past this week going into next week. Even though it does leave South Carolina, it still kind of rains over there in the central parts of the U.S. as well. So, not too confident about that drought update for any sort of good updates. If anything, things will probably get worse. Not only that, but also you have to really be banking on those isolated showers and storms that could get going, because obviously it is summertime. The ridge isn't going to completely just stop all rainfall, but it will stop those major storm systems. And so you really just got to bank on some isolated showers or storms that get going in your area. But for right now, it's not looking too good right now. It's not looking too good. And you may have to convince your family at this point, because at this point, I mean, you have all like, we're starting to get the rainfall over here pretty soon. I mean, we have risk of flash flooding, maybe severe weather on Friday. I mean, I know that we're kind of a bit too far out for severe weather right now, but in terms of flash flooding, I mean, we have some over here. So if we do see some, we may have to send some over there. But speaking of, let's go on and take a look. Let's go in and take a look real quick and look at the 4 areas outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 areas, what am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. If you are here in South Carolina and you are departing here after this, right here, number one thing, 2 songs that I use for the intro and the outro portion of the evening videos, those 2 are gonna have to go away, just for future purposes and just for the improvement of the channel over in the future. So the 2 songs that I use again for my intro and my outro during the evenings, if you listen to those, you know what I'm talking about. Those 2 are gonna have to go away, so I'm gonna have to find a new intro and outro for me. Probably gonna keep the same video, but the music's gonna have to change. And then that's number 1. And the number 2 top fan question of the night for tonight. Top fan question is a question where we ask and see who was paying attention, and whoever gets it correct, you will go on and win the top fan of the night for tonight. So let's see who was paying attention. Let's see who was paying attention for tonight. And so I'm gonna take a look over. I'm gonna take a look over at the heat index values, and I'm gonna ask this: whoever can tell me or remember what the heat index temperature was for one location, one city, one town. It doesn't matter what city or town it is. But when we're talking about the heat index values for tomorrow, whoever can give me at least one heat index value from earlier, you will win top fan of the night for tonight. Again, whoever can go on and tell me at least one area and what their actual heat index value was from earlier, you will win top fan of the night for tonight. Again, so anything's on the board. Any location is on the board. Temperatures are all on the board. Anything's possible. And so if you just remember what one of those areas is, even if it's your own, it counts. But moving on, let's talk about San Antonio first. You have low temperatures tonight at 77, high temperatures for tomorrow at 101, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 77, no precipitation tonight or tomorrow. And then in terms of severe weather, excessive rainfall not expected, no precipitation is expected over the next 7 days. So continuing just to stay dry, not seeing anything, just not seeing anything at all. So I do hope that you see, a little chance of rainfall tomorrow that may come in, a little shower or storm that could try to come in and bring some rainfall for you, hopefully just somewhere, and it just forms because it's summertime. But like I said, not looking too confident. Then for Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at 73, high temperatures for tomorrow at 94, low temperatures tomorrow night at 74 as well. So slight chance of thunderstorms tonight. Tomorrow, no precipitation is expected, but as you move Thursday onward, things do look pretty active for you. You have a chance of rainfall every day, but then as you move to around Sunday or Monday of next week, things get back to being dry. But I will say this: it's going to cool down. Same thing with South Carolina. It's going to cool down, and you're going to have some highs in the 80s, lows in the 60s. It's going to be actually pretty nice and a huge relief from the heat as you move over into next week. Charleston 107, not correct. Charleston was higher than that, and I will give you hints as well. Again, the question was if you can give me whatever the heat index was for one location earlier that we were talking about for tomorrow, you will win the top fan of the night for tonight. Again, if you can name one heat index value for one location on the heat index map that I showed earlier for tomorrow, you will win. And like I said, Charleston, it's more than 107. More than 107. Now, what about for your severe weather for you over there in Raleigh as well? It looks like that you're good for tonight, and then as you move over into tomorrow, you're still looking good as well. Excessive rainfall-wise, you're looking good for tonight and tomorrow, but Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, you have a risk of excessive rainfall. Again, isolated flash flooding for Thursday and Saturday, and then scattered flash flooding possible on Friday. Now for Philadelphia, you have low temperatures tonight at 70, high temperatures for tomorrow at 88, low temperatures tomorrow night at 71 as well. Right now, it does seem like you have a risk of isolated thunderstorms tonight, but tomorrow, you're looking good. Excessive rainfall-wise, you do have a risk of excessive rainfall for Thursday and Saturday, both risk of isolated flash flooding. And then for your risk of severe weather, you are good. And then as we go on and take a look over at your future, temperature-wise, you're going to stay in the 80s, and precipitation-wise, you're going to stay active. Besides really just tomorrow, you have a chance of rainfall every day until around Monday or so. And then finally for Duncan, Oklahoma, low temperatures tonight at 79, high temperatures for tomorrow at 108, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 77. No precipitation tonight or tomorrow, but overall for your future, you're staying dry. Same thing with San Antonio, but you will be significantly hotter. Significantly hotter. I mean, 108, San Antonio's high temperature for tomorrow is 101. Yours is 108. Like, it is way hotter. Way hotter. But that's pretty much all I have to say here in terms of the forecast, the main forecast here for those areas. We're going to go on real quick and see what's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise. Severe thunderstorms capable of large hail and damaging wind gusts are forecasted to impact the Central Plains into the lower Missouri Valley through this afternoon and evening. Dangerous heat persists across the southern plains, the southeastern U.S., and Puerto Rico this week, and will return to the southwest today going into tomorrow. So that's what we're kind of looking at here. Again, excessive heat going to return for over there in the west. We're already receiving it. Puerto Rico's receiving it. And then we're going to see some severe weather up there in the Midwest and the northern parts of the U.S. And why is that? Well, because of the ridge that we have over here in the south. It's kind of like squishing that low pressure, train up there in the north. And then not providing too much down here in the south at all. And so that all of that severe weather is kind of being like compacted into the north, into the northern plains, and into the Montana, more Wyoming areas. So there's a lot going on, but that's the main stuff. And then I see a couple more answers. Charleston 110, Georgetown 108, and then Sumter at 105. Let's go on and check it out. Charleston is correct at 110. So Thad, you did get that correct. And then Georgetown, not 108. It is lower than 108. So Thad, congratulations to you. And if somebody does somehow manage to go on and get another one before I end, we can go in and celebrate you as well. But for right now, and you actually got Sumter right too. Sumter is 105. So you got 2 correct for tonight. Congratulations to you for getting the top fan of the night for tonight. But again, it's still open. It's not closed yet. It's not closed. Still not closed yet. But first off, 825 subscribers just got to there tonight. So we are 1/4 of the way there to 900 subscribers. Again, we are 1/4 of the way there to 900 subscribers. So we're moving closer and closer. Again, we're trying to get to 900 subscribers by the end of September and hopefully get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I think that we definitely will do it. 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Definitely do think that it is possible. That's number one. Um, and then, oh shoot, hold on, I made a mistake. Hold on one second. I said Charleston first. Oh, I do apologize for that. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, yes. So I'm so sorry, Thad. But you did get Sumter, so technically you are still a winner. Um, but I saw 107. I didn't see 110. So that's my apologies. So yes, 110. You got it correct first. Let's go ahead and give you a round of applause for that. My apologies on that. Um, but yes, that and then any sort of honorable mention. I don't see any for tonight. And other than that, I think that's about all I have to say here. Let me check out my email one quick time just to see if anybody sent in a picture. Don't see one, so I'm assuming that that's all. So I will be back tomorrow morning for your Wednesday morning forecast update. Make sure that you are there for that. And then tomorrow evening, Wednesday evening forecast update. We're almost halfway through the week. Let's just get through tomorrow, and we will be halfway through the work week here. Again, congratulations to Thad and my Aunt Lula for winning the top fan of the night for tonight. And I'll be back tomorrow. Hit those two buttons before you leave if you're new.